Good morning out there in YouTube land. My name is Shard. You are watching episode 12 of 1 Foot of Books. 1 foot is about 30 centimeters. I'm in Australia, we do 30 centimeters, but that's 30 centimeters of books. 1 foot of books sounds a little bit, a little less clinical than 30 centimeters of books. A little too many syllables in there. That's the key, syllables. The gist of this show is that I go through the collection behind and around me, 1 foot at a time. And I just kind of, this morning, I just grabbed 30 centimeters, 1 foot worth of books up there, bam, on the table. So we're going to go through this morning. I'm coming at you from the lovely Blue Mountains of Australia, just outside of Sydney, New South Wales. It's autumn here. It's April, just past mid-April. It's lovely. Autumn in Australia. Mwah. I'm from New Zealand. Weather over there? Nah. Weather over here? Mwah. Apart from summer. Summer's horrible. But autumn, winter, spring, lovely. Lovely. I've got a massive sulfur-crested cockatoo sitting out on my balcony watching me record this. Whatever they do to wish and pray that I will go out there and give them some food, but I'm not going to, because cockatoos, I moved up here about a year ago, and let me tell you about cockatoos in the Blue Mountains. They are beautiful, amazing creatures, gifted to us unto by God, but you feed them once, they will keep coming back for months and months and months and more of them. And if you keep feeding them, more of them will come. There's so many birds here, so much bird life in the Blue Mountains. Amazing. You got the sulfur-crested cockatoos, you've got rainbow lorikeets, you've got eastern rosellas, you've got bowerbirds, bronze cuckoo doves, it's just these little finches flying around everywhere. So many birds. And you're just like, oh, I want to feed the birds. The cockatoos come in, they're like 5 times bigger than every other bird. So they're just like the white people of the world. They just come in, hey, what's going on here? Boom, and just eat everything and piss off. And the more you feed them, the more white people, the more cockatoos come. So I'm not feeding them anymore. I'm done with feeding the cockatoos. They have to go away. They have to forget about my place. I'm sick of them. There's poop and feathers and screeches everywhere. Anyway, I just want to feed the nice little birds, Anyway, let's get into this episode. Episode 12, 1 Foot of Books. All right, let me take a sip of coffee. My first sip of coffee for the day. Oh, my communion. Oh, that's what life's about. All right, top of the pile. The Satanic Bible. Anton Szandor LeVay. Satanic Bible. This is one of those books, man. One of those books. Famous for being infamous. This is a first edition I got at a small second-hand bookshop in Kaitaia, New Zealand. 1969, first edition. It is in really good condition. The spine's a little bit worn. I paid $30 for that probably 10 or more years ago. Well worth it. I have read it once. It's a great book. If anyone has any kind of doubts or prejudices against the Satanic Bible, I would say, have you read it? Because if they have read it, they probably would be like, it's not that bad. It's actually quite pertinent for the 20th and 21st century, the whole satanic belief stuff. I'm not going to go too deep into it all, but it's well worth reading. I thoroughly enjoyed the Satanic Bible. It's entertaining, it's empowering, it's enthralling. It's not all about devil worship. Okay, it's not all about sacrificing cats and children and stuff like that. It is a highly entertaining book, and well worth a read. And I would recommend it to anyone who wants to, like, there's a lot of self-help stuff in here. It's kind of like a proto self-help book, as well as being like a religious, what's that word? Like a religious kind of satire as well. And it just takes the piss out of religion, and it's funny, and it's awesome. Yeah, LeVay was a bit of a mysterious character. But yeah, I'll leave that up to you to go check out what he was doing. Yeah, cool book though, man. I'm really happy I got the first edition. Found it in a tiny little bookshop, small town New Zealand. That's where the best bargains are, man. That's where you find the weirdest, freakiest stuff. It was at that bookshop as well I found the Protocols of the Elders of Zion, an edition from the 1920s. And I'm like, how do these books end up in places like this? It's weird, man. There's stories behind the things that contain stories. Probably can't see it. Phillip K Dick, Man in the High Castle. This is a Penguin edition from doesn't say. Anyway, originally published in 1962. This is kind of pretty much the Dick opus. It's a pretty cool cover. It's kind of got like embossed, raised map of the world. If you haven't heard about it or watched the TV show, I think I watched a bit of the first episode of the TV show, but nah, it didn't continue. It's like that Brave New World show. I watched one episode of that and I was like, watch something else. Good book though. It's all about it's set in the 60s, and kind of like an alternate future where the Nazis won, and the ramifications of that. America's like split in half. The Japanese powers running half of it, and the Nazis running the other half. And in the middle, there's still Middle America. Very cool book. Quite different to a lot of the other sci-fi, like purely sci-fi stuff that Dick did, especially his short stories, but well worth a read. The Morning of the Magicians by Louis Pauwels and Jacques Bergier. This is a classic. It's up there, if you know of Chariots of the Gods. This kind of came out at the same time, originally in French, and it was translated. This edition, this is a pretty beat up edition. This is 1973. It was first published in 63, so it kind of predates Chariots of the Gods. Von Däniken lifted a lot of his stuff from this. Very cool book. I was quite enthralled by the chapter on Nazi occultism, which was just like quite mind-blowing. They go to, it's kind of like the precursor to the whole Von Däniken, Graham Hancock stuff. It's very influential. Not many people have heard about it. I've got 2 copies of this. I've got this old battered copy and I've got a new one. But it is a very, very cool book. Very influential. I would highly recommend reading it if you're into all that kind of stuff. Alternate archaeology and weird history and stuff like that. Very cool. Very cool. It's got some pictures in there. And yeah, like I say, the chapter on Nazi occultism, well worth getting the book for. Where did I get that from? I got this from New Dawn magazine when I was writing for them. I got it in a box of books, like a care package from the editor. If you want to get free books, start writing about books and sending book reviews to magazines and stuff. They'll send you stuff, man. They will send you boxes of stuff. Boxes of cool stuff too. If you want those kind of books. Well, it depends on you. You can do it for any books. Peter Singer, Animal Liberation. I still haven't read this book. I got it from the Salvos in Marrickville. It is I don't know what year. 1977 edition of 1975 publication. A new ethics for the treatment new ethics for our treatment of animals. Yes, haven't read it. Apparently, it's quite important. I'll get there one day. If you've read it, let me know. Don Miguel Ruiz, The Mastery of Love. This guy got big for the Four Agreements, which is his kind of classic self-help book. And this is kind of an expansion of that book. I've got the Four Agreements in there somewhere. The Mastery of Love. I got this at Dulwich Hill Vinnie's when I was living in the city. Mainly because I wanted to learn about the Mastery of Love, and I still haven't. And if anyone has, let me know. Because love is a losing game, as Amy Winehouse once said. It's just, yeah, a practical guide to the art of relationships. It is definitely an art, one that I don't get. Most of us don't, man. But, you know, I've read a little bit of this. I haven't applied it or anything like that. I'll get there one day. I've read a bit of the Four Agreements. I've read a bit of this. I'll get there. I'll get there, people. One of my favorite books of all time, Ursula K LeGuin, The Dispossessed, A Tale of Two Worlds. This is an awesome book. I've read it like 2.5 times. This is a 1975 Avon edition. It follows a man who is part of an anarchist collective that 200 years previously separated itself from its home planet and went and started a colony on that planet's moon. And while the Earth-type planet has continued in unfettered capitalism and competition, the moon has followed anarchist principles and collectivism and stuff like that. And this person has come up with a scientific breakthrough on the anarchist planet that he needs to share with the Earth-like planet and maybe the whole universe. And LeGuin is probably LeGuin's like most ideologically interesting book. It's just the way it explores collectivism, individual achievement in a society like that, like what propels an anarchist, like a long-term anarchist society, and then how it meets with its mirror image, its opposite in the Earth-like capitalist system that they've willfully separated from for 200 years, and how he kind of adapts. He has to go there to kind of pass on his technology, and like he gets there and he's like, I've got this thing, and they're like, oh, how much money do you want for it? He's just like, whoa, slow down, buddy. And it's a heavy book. It's not that long. It's not amazingly action-packed in terms of like pew pew you know. It's like it's ideologically action-packed. It's a full-on book, and I love it, and I want to read it again. I've read it a couple of times, but I'll read it again. I love it. It's a great book. Fantastically written. Ursula K LeGuin is like one of my all-time favorite authors. And you know, if I had to pull out a favorite of all the books I've read of hers, this is easily the most had the biggest impact on me. But there are other stories that she's written that are a bit more action-packed, a bit faster. But this one for me is the bee's knees of LeGuin's oeuvre. Where did I get this from? I don't even remember where I got this from. I've had it for so long, and I like that it's in good condition, and I like those colors. I like that cover. Yeah, don't even remember where I got it from. I got this from the Dulwich Hill Vinnie's. Soren Kierkegaard, The Sickness Unto Death. One of the famous kind of, what is he? Is he an existentialist? I don't even know what Kierkegaard was in terms of philosophical schools. I've read about 16 pages of it. It is a full-on book. It's only short. It's all about despair and the human condition. And Yeah, it's tough. I think he was more of an influence on the existentialists rather than being an existentialist himself. Full-on book, probably one of those books for those dark nights of the soul, you know, when it's 3 a.m. and you're like, you can't sleep. Just pick that up. Not that it'll send you to sleep, but, you know, it might do something. Where did I get that from? Dollar Chilvinnies, like $1. I got this from my friend's dead uncle's book collection, 100 Years of Philosophy, John Passmore. Never read this. What is this even about? A critical acclaim which created the first edition of Long Impossible. I guess from the... Oh, John Passmore was a Sydney writer. There you go. Sydney as in the city in New South Wales. I guess it just looks at 100 years of philosophy, starting with John Stuart Mill and British empiricism. And then up to existentialism and phenomenology. There you go. Haven't read it. Been in the collection for a long time. Steppenwolf. Herman Hesse. Haven't read it. Have I? No. No. I read up to like page 50 and then I stopped when he got into that kind of theatre thing. Yeah, haven't read it. Hesse. I've got a strange relationship with Hesse. I read The Glass Bead Game when I was early 20s. Tough book, amazing book. It took me a while. I really, really liked The Glass Bead Game. But I just haven't been able to get into his shorter stuff. Steppenwolf, 50 pages. Journey to the East, I think 10 pages before I stopped and started something else. It's, yeah, I don't know what it is about his shorter stuff. Glass Bead Game really impressed me. I really liked it. But his other stuff just hasn't held me. Sorry, Hesse. I'll give you some time at some point. I got this at my friend's bookshop in Marrickville, Urchin Books. Phillip K Dick and Ray Nelson, The Ganymede Takeover. Haven't read it. This is kind of like a weird... It's a library book. It's still got the library card in it. It was taken out twice. Once in 1989 and once in 1991. Which school did it come from? Rivendell High School. Oh, there you go. Straight out of Tolkien. Haven't read it. Don't know much about this one. It's got that classic kind of library sticky cover thing. Yeah. Haven't read it. Where did I get it from? I'm pretty sure I found it in a salvo somewhere. Oh, some more Dick. I love a lot of Dick in my life. Dr. Blood Money. Or How We Got Along After the Bomb. I really love this book. In terms of accessible Dick, to me this was like one of his most kind of like easily readable, fun, rollicking books. It's set after a nuclear exchange in San Francisco. It follows a few different characters in San Francisco, kind of semi-obliterated, you know, kind of weird mutants running around, weird things going on, and like a Northern California community that kind of survived, but because of all the fallout and weird stuff, the next generation of people are kind of being born with telepathic abilities, mutants, you know, physical deformities, and just how these two groups meet up. And Dr. Blood Money is a person who was on a satellite when the nuclear exchange happened, and he's still up there, and he's kind of like the worldwide DJ kind of thing, which is a pretty cool idea. Yeah, it's a cool book. I really liked it. I wouldn't mind reading it again, actually. Full of crazy, cool typical Dick stuff. Yeah, really liked it. Got that from my friend's bookshop, Urchin Books. When she got a bunch of Phillip K Dick stuff in, I grabbed a little bit of it. Virginia Woolf, Orlando. I've read almost 3/4 of it. I really like the movie. Sorry to say. The Sally Potter adaptation with Tilda Swinton and Billy Zane. I thought that movie was fantastic. I watched it when I was kind of in my teens, and then I watched it again at university, part of this film course, and I really liked it. And I've always had a soft spot for the idea of Orlando, and I started reading it a couple of years ago, and I got about 3/4 of the way through, and I was like, you know what, this is kind of boring, and I stopped. Sorry, Virginia Woolf fans out there. I picked this up, I think, just at a bookstall at Marrickville Markets one morning. It was just cheap, and I was like, I'll get it. I'll get it. And I got it, and I read most of it, and I was just kind of, it's just kind of painful. I mean, not that I'm saying it's a bad book. It's a very lush, well-written book, but I don't know. I didn't last. Umberto Eco, Reflections on the Name of the Rose. $1.50 from Vinnie's at Dulwich Hill. So this is kind of like a little bit, I think it's an extended interview that he did around the time of The Name of the Rose when it came out, and became pretty much a publishing phenomena. Turned into a not too bad movie, but quite different from the book as well. Haven't read it. I really like The Name of the Rose. I read that in like 2 days when I first got it, and I just went all out. I was just like, I'm going to finish it, and I did. Yeah, haven't read it. I've got a lot of Eco's books. I've read most of them. I haven't read that one. Karl Popper, Unended Quest. An intellectual autobiography. Karl Popper I was turned on to by Robert Anton Wilson, but I have yet to read his stuff. This is 1976. I got this from the Reverse Garbage in Marrickville, in the Addison Road Centre. I was just like, oh yeah, cool, Karl Popper. You don't see much of his stuff around, so I grabbed it. Haven't read it. Sorry, Karl. I'll get to you one day. I've got a couple of his other books, but just, you know, heavy philosophy stuff. Yeah. Last for today, episode 12, 1 Foot of Books. Neil Stephenson, Anathem. This is when his books started getting really big. 2008, actually it might have been before this, they started getting really big. Cryptonomicon, those Quicksilver and the Confusion and that kind of thing. I was turned on to Neil Stephenson probably about 18 years ago, 19 years ago, by my friend Zev, and he gave me a copy of The Diamond Age, and I really liked The Diamond Age. It was a tough book. I got through it, like, very entertaining, a lot of cool ideas. Really liked The Diamond Age. I've read it a couple of times. Then I read Snow Crash, which is crazy, but again, really entertaining, really fast-paced. And then Stephenson started coming out with these tomes that were like hundreds of pages long. I'm not saying they were bad books. See, this is 1,000 pages, dude. I got that far. I got 3/4 of the way through, and then I stopped. Cool book. I don't know if I'd try to read it again. Maybe. I tried reading one of those, I think it was Quicksilver. I got about 100 pages into that, and they're still sitting in a boat on a harbour, and I'm just like, oh my god. Like, you know, kick it off, mate. Kick it off. What's going on? And, yeah, I don't know. I could be wrong about Stephenson. I've tried reading Cryptonomicon as well. I think that in my mind, they're too daunting. They're too daunting. And I know, I'm a bit of a, you know, Stephenson wuss. But If anyone can convince me otherwise, to stick with it and maybe give this another go, or give Quicksilver another go, or as new ones, as ones that are like, you know, 1 foot, 1 foot of book. Yeah. Stephenson, man, what are you doing? How much stuff have you got in your brain? Thanks for watching 1 Foot of Books, episode 12. I'm going to have a bonus episode coming out later on this week with the haul I got from the Blackheath Golf and Community Club book sale a couple of weeks ago. So keep an eye out for that. Yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. Like, subscribe, send me comments more than anything. I don't care about subscriptions and likes. Just, like, you know, say hi, you know, that's what I'm here for, man. It's lonely up here in the mountains, and you know, yeah, it's crazy, but thanks for watching. I do appreciate it, and I see those little numbers come up, and I'm just like, 20 people watch my video, that's awesome. Great. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. Have a great week. I'll see you soon on 1 Foot of Book.